kicking it back in, and you got the idea. I would warn you guys that are struggling with this stuff to try that bonus page I gave you. On the back of the no calculator part, guys, on the back of the no calculator part, the first part you'll do no calculator with. When you finish this part tomorrow, you'll turn it in. I'll give you the second half of the quiz, and you'll do that. Okay. Question number 1. Okay, question number 1 is a matrix C multiplication problem. Remember, in matrix multiplication, the first thing that I expect you to do is to write a dimension statement. So matrix B is 3 by 2 times matrix A is 2 by 2. Guys, write that statement. Why we are so afraid to write that statement? Because if you do, guys, it gives you the size of your answer matrix. So you know going into the problem what it is that you're going to do. So you take, again, remember, we said we'll write a problem by doing row, so that's -1 and 5 times column. So there's the black row times the red column. So times 3, 2. Guys, that's what I'm expecting to see tomorrow. Not the answer. I want to see this. I want to see where you take row times column, where you take -1 times -1 plus 5 times -1. That's row 1, column 2. So you put the answer in row 1, column 2. So -1, 5, -1, 5, -1, 1. Now take the next column. So now, or the next row, 5, -3. So I skip some space. I come down here, I write 5, -3, and I'm timesing that by 3, 2. So 5, -3 times 3, 2. Put a plus sign. Row, second column. So 5, -3 times -1, 1. Now I'm ready to do the third row. The third row times the first column gives me my answer in the third row, first column. So 4, 0 times 3, 2. So 4, 0 times 3, 2. 4, 0 times -1, 1. Now, this goes back to the very first thing we did. I set up my matrix, then it takes me 3 rows of writing to work it out. -3 plus 10, there's 7. 15 minus 6. 12 plus 0. 1 plus 5. -5 minus 3. -4 plus 0. My answer is therefore this matrix: 7, 6, 9, -8, 12, -4. Time doesn't allow me here to work through that. Somebody work, is that?
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so boom, there we go. Now, watch. The reason I keep trying to get you guys to understand to write AB out right there, watch what happens when I try to do A, which is a 2 by 2, times B, which is a 3 by 2. Look, when I try to take this row and multiply it by this column, there's an extra number, which means you won't be able to do this on this part of the test. But had you had your calculator in your hand and you tried to multiply B times A, it would have given you the answer. But if you wrote A times B, it would say error, dim, mismatch.
It said error. Just copy that right here.
It should say dim mismatch. I don't know why it doesn't. All right, second part. Remember, this is scalar multiplication. So the way you work scalar multiplication is you just multiply everything in D by 3. So negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12. Negative 3 times 19, help. Say it right. Negative 57. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Guys, I just took everything in D and multiplied it by 3. Now I'm going to add that. I'm going to add that to 2C. So take everything in C and multiply it by 2. So everything in C and multiply it by 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, now you guys who are going to do tonight's bonus page, you're going to see this. This is going to say negative x, or negative x right there, and a minus 4. In this problem, negative 6 minus 4 is negative 10. But if it said negative x minus 4, that would be your answer. Negative x minus 4. And that's all you can do. In this particular problem, I can go negative 10, negative 57,
18. Negative 7. How did you get negative 18?
Sorry. Got in a hurry and multiply. Again, that's how easy it is. I know how to do it. Just made a mistake. Yeah. All right, now, letter D over here, determinant of D. Guys, this is D. D is a 2 by 2 matrix. So you draw your straight line. D looks like absolute value, but it means determinant. 2, 19, negative 4, 3. Cross multiply, 6. Minus a negative 76 is 82. I did not ask you to find the determinant of C, but guys, to find the inverse of C, you have to find the determinant. So even though I didn't ask you that, it's part of that question. It's kind of embedded in the question. And remember, you'll take the matrix C and you'll switch their place, take the opposite of each of these. Now, the opposite of a 0 doesn't make sense, but I wrote it anyway just so you can see it for your review. So now I have to find the determinant of C. Negative 2 minus 0 negative 1/2 times 1. Negative 1/2 times 1 is negative 1/2. Negative 1/2 times 0 is 0. Negative 1/2 times 3 is positive 3/2. Negative 1/2 times negative 2 is positive 1. Now, again, if you're one of those people who want to make sure you're getting the right answer, if you take matrix C inverse, which we calculated down there and got this, and matrix C, which was given to you, and you multiply those two together, if you multiply them together, you should get, very good, the identity matrix, which I talked about here. You should get that right there. So you guys that ask me all the time, am I getting this right? Guys, you are the best person that can tell whether or not you're getting something right by whether or not it works out. Okay, here we go. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to get you that Band-Aid. Determinant of D, negative 2, 0, 8, 2, negative 1, 4, 1, 3, 7. Guys, I expect to see this tomorrow. I expect you to rewrite those first two columns. And then you go through the process that we talked about over and over and over again. You multiply those three numbers. You multiply those three numbers. You multiply these three numbers. Then you get an answer. Then you go the other way. You multiply these three numbers. You multiply that three numbers. You multiply those three numbers. And that gives you an answer. You take those two answers and subtract them. Because you're going to add everything. I showed you to add everything. Be careful if you go online tonight and watch a video of this, because they won't add everything online. I don't know why. Other folks do this another way. But they say take these numbers and add them. Take the red numbers and subtract them. All they're doing is distributing this minus sign. I think it's easier to get your products, get all the products of everything in blue and add it together. Get all your products of everything in red, add it together, and then subtract once. That's how I showed you how to do them. Every video that I see online doesn't do that. Every video online will say plus, 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 minus, 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 and they subtract 3 times.
So can you write up how you do it?
Figure out what these sums are. You figure out what those sums are, then subtract those two numbers. If you're one of those people, again, that wants to check and see whether or not you're doing it correctly, plug it into a calculator, hit DET, that matrix, and it'll give it to you. But you might be wanting to just watch me work the problem. Where'd I get? This. So 1, negative 2. Take these two. Look. Take these two guys and switch them. Take this guy and take the opposite of it. Leave it where it's at. All right, here we go. What I expect, eyes up here, please. We're not done. Come on. What I'm looking for tomorrow that you'll write down in the Cramer's rule is I'm looking for these 3 matrices. Now, at this point right here, look, there's some other bonus, and there's a part that you're going to do without the calculator. You'll see it on there. I can talk about those at the first thing tomorrow. I'll have a video on it that I'll do from the other classes. I'll work these binomial expansion problems today, throughout the day. They got this review yesterday. Okay, I'll show you how all that stuff comes about. That was the picture from my website. Okay, I'll talk about end behavior again. It'll be on a video. Okay, that was that picture. That picture right there. Here's what the question will look like tomorrow. Okay, that bonus worksheet is on the back of your today's no calculator page. today, it's on today's back of that page. It's bonus tomorrow. Okay? You won't be able to take your calculator out tomorrow until you finish those first 3 problems. When you finish those first 3 problems, you'll raise your hand. Coach Walker or I will pass you out the rest of it. You'll give it to me. Then I'll get it back to you at the end. We'll staple it all together with any kind of bonus work that you got.
Just a reminder, I will be here after school today. I will be here in the morning, all right? So if
Look.
you need some additional help,
At this point, guys, for those of you who have not worked quiz stars, go work them now and just do them as matrices. There was a question that somebody said you didn't have to do them in first chapter. No. You may not have done them in the first chapter. You still made 105. You got 105 average right now. But guys, after we test every one of those that's not done, and I know most of you haven't done, I'm going to print it out and I'm going to go back and I'm going to throw in zeros for them. And I don't care who you are. 400s is a whole lot better than 4 zeros. Yes? All right, I'll make a playlist of all the